Look at that. A new login screen. New music. Oh, the music. And transitions to the classic beat, the classic theme. Nice. I always love how they come up with a different version of the classic theme for the login screen. Every expansion. It's great. Listen to that. Oh, it's awesome. Anyways, hello everybody, and welcome. As you can see, we're kind of in a waiting room. So, it is pre-patch day for the Shadowlands. We are all patiently waiting while they continue to do maintenance on all the servers. If you were to log in, you would see every server is offline. So we are just kind of patiently waiting. For me, it's around noon Central, and it's like, oh, it'll be up at 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm like, oh, wait, that's like 5 o'clock for me. It's okay. We have ways to pass the time. At least I do. And I thought it would be fun if now, because this is up and in the game, that I can be able to make a video about the cinematic of Shadowlands, which I haven't done yet. I've been holding off on this until this came around because they were going to be adding it here to the list. I like how they've already made a space for another one right there. Plus, it allows me to be able to have the subtitles for it, which usually is not the case when we just watch those on YouTube. But here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I want to do. We're going to just watch this through once here, and then I'm going to go to YouTube and pull it up again so I can be able to pause, so we can go through it again, but I can pause when I want so we can discuss it. So, hope you enjoy.
Ice Crown. A monument to our suffering. The veil between life and death. Where a usurper sits on a frozen throne. But no king rules forever. Are unfit to wear this crown. To wield so much power.
That power will be your prison.
This world is a prison. Set us all free.
So, yeah, pretty nice cinematic, you know. I actually kind of hinted at this in the video I made where I showed the finale of the Shadowmourn questline from Wrath. It's an excellent cinematic as always. The quality of the cinematic has always been excellent. However, I will admit to you guys, the first time I saw that cinematic at BlizzCon a year ago, I was livid. I was absolutely furious. I could not believe what I just saw. I have a number of problems with this cinematic. Now, some theories have come out since then, especially in very recent times, where people have actually been finding out things in the Shadowlands beta that have actually lent to some interesting ideas as to how this cinematic actually makes more sense when you actually have some more info about certain things. And it's actually kind of affected my view of this cinematic. I'm even just, considering linking a video to another creator that I would, don't mind, pushing or promoting to, because I think the editing and presentation that he put forth about it was excellent, very high quality. It's something I appreciate from a, content creator standpoint. But I will let you guys know which one that is, later. If you want to know, I'll probably put it in the description of this video, linking it. So, anyways, let's go ahead and now, as I said, we're going to go through this again now that I've gone to the YouTube version, so I can be able to pause whenever I want. Can I just say, I love that in the crowd reactions to this, including the ones that, had people were recording the live crowd reactions at BlizzCon. The moment we saw that, the top of that tower there, everybody knew what it was. Everyone knew that was Ice Crown. And I just love that. I just love that Ice Crown is that recognizable to the fans that they immediately know what Ice Crown Citadel is. It just, I love it.
Ice Crown.
Now, up till this point, I was excited because it's Ice Crown, and I was realizing they're going to do something with the Lich King. They're going to do something with the Scourge. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then I heard Sylvanas' voice, and my excitement plummeted. Because then my reaction was, oh no. Because I realized if I'm hearing Sylvanas' voice, that means she's there at Ice Crown, which means we're about to see something go down with Sylvanas and the Lich King, and I'm not going to like it, am I? That was my immediate thought and reaction the moment I heard Sylvanas' voice. Keep in mind, this is the third straight cinematic that Sylvanas has been a part of. She was in the Legion cinematic fighting alongside Varian. She, got a nice spotlight in the BFA cinematic. And now here she is again in the cinematic for Shadowlands. Yeah.
A monument to our suffering.
I do like that there's just kind of random members of the Scourge just casually pacing back and forth, guarding ICC. I mean, how often did we encounter them just kind of wandering around the Ice Crown zone, and it's like, oh, look, a random, undead, a random Scourge. Okay. But here's one of my immediate issues with the cinematic. Now, here's a question I have. Now, again, some theories are kind of answering this, but here was one of my immediate questions. Not why is Sylvanas there? I know why she's there. My question is, why are the Scourge just watching her? You notice that? This guy is just like, oh, alright, I'll just let you walk by me. I mean, and this is not, look at the next shot here. Pay attention.
The veil between life and death.
Just look at all the different members of the Scourge here that are just kind of, all right, we're just going to walk with you and just, we're watching you. We're watching you. They're not attacking her on sight or anything. They're just letting her walk in. No resistance whatsoever. Just, okay, we're just going to let you walk in.
Where a usurper sits on a frozen.
Now, I thought that line was interesting because I found it interesting that she was using the word usurper. Now, any one of us who has, seen things like Game of Thrones, we immediately know what a usurper is. And I just found it interesting that Sylvanas was referring to Bolvar as a usurper. I was like, why would she just simply label him as that? Now, there's been the theory that I've heard actually makes sense, in that context when you think about that theory in detail. Again, I'm more than likely going to be linking the video I'm referring to on this theory from Bellular, in case you're curious, in regards to the Lich King, because it's a very interesting and fascinating theory that I actually think helps things make sense. Though there are some things in regards to this particular version of the Lich King, especially, the one we interacted with in Legion, that still makes me go, wait, if that's true, then what about this and this? The interactions with him in Legion, to me, kind of caused some issues in that regard, because if this theory is true, then why was he having us do this? Why was it, did we have this kind of interaction with him? I feel like if we didn't have the whole Death Knight campaign in Legion, it would probably make that theory make entire sense. It's just some of those interactions in Legion to me make me go, wait a minute. But anyways, let's continue.
Throne. But no king rules forever.
I love this shot. I love this shot. Walking up, you see just an entire line of the Scourge here. And then you just see the stairs up to the Frozen Throne. I mean, how many of us have had this view, though, you know, it doesn't really show how wide the platform is, but any of us who have done the Ice Crown Citadel raid, we're aware of how wide that is, you know. But I just want you to note how many Scourge are here, just ready to fight her to defend their king. I want you to notice that. Also, here's something else I want to know. Where are the Death Knights? These aren't Death Knights. These are just random, undead and ghouls and such of the Scourge. But where are the Death Knights? Where are the 4 horsemen right now? If they were here, ready to defend the Lich King against Sylvanas, then where are the Death Knights? Now, again, the theory I've heard actually kind of helps me make more sense in the idea of what if he then just sent them off? He just sent them away with them unaware of what was coming. He knew she was coming, but he didn't want them there. It's something I've been wondering over the past year is, what if he knew this was going to happen, he knew that she was coming, and he wanted it to happen? I love this shot. I love this shot right here. This is such a great shot. And I love, the moment this shot came on screen at BlizzCon, the crowd went nuts. Because of course they would. It's the Lich King. And he just looks amazing. And I know that, the classic, blue is great. But, I've always loved this, molten fire kind of aesthetic for him. I just think that looks awesome. Also, I love that he got to keep pieces of the classic armor. And that is an awesome looking weapon. I want that weapon. We probably will never get it, like we've never gotten Frostmourne, but I just think it looks really cool. Now, this I thought was interesting. This transition he makes from red to blue eyes. I was a little taken aback by that. And I was like, well, now that is interesting. We've never seen him do that before. We never once saw him do that in Legion. He stayed red eyes and, molten fire aesthetic the entire time in Legion. And now all of a sudden here he switches to blue. And this was a shot right here that was leaked ahead of time before BlizzCon that had a lot of people just go, wait a minute. They were wondering, what's with the blue eyes? And, this was, a shot that was being sold on, I think, pictures, ahead of time, and got leaked, and people were like, oh, wait a minute, what does this mean? It was a straight-up leak, basically, to get everyone hyped and excited about what could be announced at BlizzCon, And I found myself wondering when he did this, does this mean he's switching powers? And I also found myself wondering, is this now we've discussed and theorized about the difference between Bolvar and the actual Lich King and who is, of course, in control. I have kept saying that Bolvar has not been the one in control because to me, I find it extremely hard to believe that it was actually Bolvar we were interacting with in Legion, considering the things that he was asking us to do in Legion, which was not very good things. So I was convinced that the third Lich King was the one who was talking with us and asking us to do some pretty terrible things back in Legion. And I thought, okay, so maybe this change here signifies that the Lich King is taking over control here. He's basically shoved Bolvar out of the way. And it's like, all right, I'm in the driver's seat now. I'm going to now activate my powers and, beat up on Sylvanas. Which is funny because, the Lich King is just, if he wanted to, he could just be like, all right, zoop. All right, Sylvanas, you're under my mind control now. Because he can do that. He can do that to literally any undead on Azeroth if he wanted to. It's just a matter of whether or not he wants to. It's not whether or not he can, it's whether or not he just wants to or not. However, again, that theory actually lends the idea that what if this could actually be a Bolvar, but not at full power, or what if this is the Lich King, but not at full power, because the theory kind of makes it interesting, though there are still some little details I would like a little answered here, but. Notice how then the Scourge immediately starts to move towards the mouse like they're going to attack her. Again, notice how many there are. And of course, she just has a little smirk, like, this will be easy. And just like that, she's already taken care of every single one of those Scourge. Now, here's one of my immediate big problems. Why is that all there is? Why isn't he just calling for more? Because he can. If he wanted, he could summon every single Scourge in Northrend to go to Icecrown to kill Sylvanas if he wanted to. Because he can do that. This is not the only Scourge he has here. If he wanted, he could summon every Scourge on Azeroth and have them come straight to Icecrown Citadel and have them fulfill one single purpose: kill Sylvanas. So, I'm going to point something out here, because it's very clear that that this battle has been going on for a little while. Because not only has she taken down every one of the Scourge there, but notice he already has several arrows in him. So they've been battling for a little while. It's interesting, the little time transition, which I would have loved to have seen. Okay, what happened during that little period of time? I want to actually see how she pulled this off. How does she take them all down, while also fighting him? It feels like there's some gaps here we need clarification on. Now, this was cool, though. Some people were like, what, he can do this? I'm like, yes, he's the Lich King. Of course he can do this. And of course he can do this because we recall him doing something extremely similar back in the Halls of Reflection, right? I thought this was a cool sequence. Kind of a very horrifying aspect, like, oh gosh, where is he? Where is he? And then she gets hit in the face with a boulder. Again, look at all these Scourge bodies, which are just laying around. Like, they're not getting back up. He could just be like, alright, get back up. But no, he doesn't. There are things that he could do, because we know he can, and he just doesn't. Now, again, the theory that have heard actually continues to be like, okay, I could see this answering this question, but still. And then this is where everything changes. This was the moment I started to get upset, because I was really hoping that this was going to go the Lich King's way, that he was going to beat Sylvanas. And then this happened, and I was like, oh no. And I wasn't the only one. There are others I know, like, there was one other, I was watching him, like, restream this. And his reaction the moment this happened was, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Because he and I started to realize what was happening, and we were not happy about it. We discussed it after BlizzCon, after the opening ceremonies, and neither of us were happy about it. We were both livid about it. So, imagine how heavy that giant glacier is behind her, that she has a chain attached to right now. Now, again, I want to kind of emphasize this. Sylvanas has never been that personally powerful before. Like, personally strong. She's not exactly someone who can be like... She's not the Hulk. She can't just walk up to a mountain and just pick up the mountain like, Sylvanas lift, you know? She's not that physically strong. And yet... I don't care how strong that chain is. It doesn't matter how strong the chain is if she's not that, physically strong. But because of the power increase that she's been getting, I guess that's an acceptable excuse as to how she can physically hurl a gigantic glacier at him. I'm just saying, there are some leaps here. It's like, I know and understand the explanation that's being given here. I'm just not sure I buy it. Because it's like, there's this gap here that is making me kind of like, I think we need some more detail on this, please. In order for this to make complete and total sense. Because otherwise, I'm having a very difficult time actually buying this. I saw this and I went, oh no, no, she's gonna remove the helm. No, don't do it. And I just hate how casually she looks. She's doing this to him. She's just, yes, yeah. She's just so casually just doing this to him. I hate that.
You are unfit to wear this crown.
Now, I want you to notice how this comes off. I want you to really look at this area here on his face as the helm is coming off. You see that? Look at that. That's basically the essence of the Lich King within the helm being removed from Bolvar's body. And the Lich King is his control over Bolvar's physical body is getting removed, and Bolvar is retaining his control. Think of it as, in StarCraft, if Kerrigan was wearing a helm while she was in Brood War, and you literally lift that helm and she, turns away from being the Queen of Blades back to Sarah Kerrigan. That's kind of how it would be like. It's like, oh, the person who was in the driver's seat of the car has been removed, and this other person who has been chained in a cage over to the side, unable to do anything, is now able to be put back in the driver's seat. That's how I saw it.
To wield so much power.
There were some people who were had so many different kinds of reactions at this moment. Some were like, yes, put it on. Some people who are Sylvanas fans were like, Lich Queen, yeah, put it on. And some people were like, no, don't you dare. There were so many different reactions at this moment. That power. I want to say, I love what they did with Bolvar here. Look at this. Look at Bolvar. We've never seen him this detailed before. The last time we saw him was at the end of ICC in Wrath, when they put the helm on him. And of course, Wrath's graphics back then were not that great. You look at the cutscene, there's really not that much detail on his face from back then. But now, look at the detail on his face here. Also, I will say I do like the new voice actor. Not that it's not that I dislike the voice actor they had for him back in Wrath, but I just think that it sounds like they got a good voice actor. From what I can tell, it almost sounds like the voice actor they got for the male necromancer in Diablo 3. I could be wrong, but it is a very similar type of voice, which I really like. So I love this visual design and detail that they did with Bolvar here.
Will be your prison.
And he's right. I mean, we, those of us who know about, that's what he's basically been. And that's what it was like for Arthas as well, a prison. you know. Now, there's some more context to that, especially when you think about the theory. Again, I'm more than likely going to link it in the description of this video. It's courtesy of Bellular, but yeah.
This world is a prison.
Now, that line, that was a red flag for me. Also, in the recent book, Shadows Rising, the epilogue of that book basically takes place right after this cinematic. Like at the very end of, like this portion here that we're seeing on screen is in the epilogue of that book. And a little bit afterwards, and it delves a little bit more into Sylvanas' thinking and mentality about what's going on right now. She's basically done with all this. With, what the book said was a self-righteous cosmos. Like, she basically hates how this all works. The cosmos and everything. Like, how life works. From what I gathered from that book, and when you think about how she is here, especially with that line she just said, she has now basically gotten to the point where she just wants to wipe out everything. I don't think she wants to rebuild anything like Sargeras did, because at least Sargeras was like, okay, I want to destroy everything, and then rebuild it without any corruption. It's kind of like Thanos, who was like, all right, I'm going to wipe out everything, and then make a much more wonderful universe. Sylvanas, I don't think, wants to rebuild anything or put anything in its place. She just wants to wipe out everything. She basically wants to go the Amon route, where she just wants to wipe out all life and be like, it's all right. I am your salvation. I will save you from suffering and this pain of this thing that we call life. That's what I'm gathering here from some of these lines and statements I'm picking up on from Sylvanas and from what she was thinking in the book. And I was, at this moment, panicking, like, over what I was wondering she was going to do. I was like, oh, please do not put that helmet on. I do not want to see her with the power of the Lich King. And then she held the helm like this, and I realized, oh no, she's going to destroy it. And I realized what destroying this helm would actually mean. The multiple consequences and ramifications of what destroying this helm could do. Yeah. Yeah, the sky has broken. The reaction from the crowd watching this was like, they were all just like, whoa! Like, I don't think anyone was actually expecting to see the sky literally shatter and break like this. Like, this was just kind of like I'm sure there's some people going, I don't think that's how that works. But I also love Bolvar's reaction there when he saw her starting to break the helm. He was, right here. He's just like, what? Like, he was not expecting her to actually try and break the helm. He totally thought, oh, she wants to put the helm on and get the power. He did not think she was going to try and actually destroy the helm. Because he knows... Hold on. He knows what destroying that helm means. Bolvar has gained a wealth of knowledge while wearing that helm. He's learned a lot. This is one of the reasons he's actually going to be kind of our tour guide as we go through the Shadowlands. Bolvar is going to be basically serving as the Khadgar or the Magni of this expansion. And I say Khadgar because Khadgar was a consistent, character and guide and such with us in Legion. So Bolvar is basically going to be, because he knows the Shadowlands, because he's been, gaining the knowledge about the Shadowlands since he's been wearing the helm. So he's going to basically be like, yeah, I know a lot now. And I'm going to try and tell you everything I know, So I remember seeing that going, what is that? You know, is that like an identical version of Icecrown? Is this like a mirror world? Now we know that it's basically Torghast, that it's the Maw. It was just interesting that there was, that it was almost mirror identical to Icecrown and how it almost structurally looks. And you'll see in just a second here. And then, of course, this next line from Sylvanas.
And I will set us all free.
I will say this shot is actually pretty cool, with it almost touching here. Also, it is cool how animated the broken pieces of the sky are here. I will say it doesn't look that way in the PTR. Maybe that'll change as we go. It would be awesome if it was animated, in the actual game. I don't know if it will, because that seems like a tall task for the devs, but it's still an awesome image here. I know some people actually took this as as their wallpaper for their desktops, and I don't blame them. It's an awesome shot. And it is cool that when you fly from Dalaran Northrend to here, you then see the broken sky, like in the PTR. And I'm sure it'll be that way when we have our pre-patch events as we go forward. So yeah. And of course, when this was revealed, the crowd went nuts, realizing, yep, it's Shadowlands. It's confirmed. We're going to the Shadowlands. So, yeah. Like I said, the quality of the cinematic is outstanding, as they always are. I've said it for years, and I will continue to say it. The cinematic department for Blizzard, not just for World of Warcraft, but for all their games, is top-notch. They do an amazing job. I just have some of the issues of what happened within the cinematic, but again, we're learning some more info that is trying to add some more context and info to try and help explain some of these things better. Because I will say, this was not well received. I mean, it sort of was. The crowd at BlizzCon, they cheered and applauded. But I will say that there were plenty of others who were not there that were not happy. This had a lot of negative feedback and dislikes, mainly because, well, a lot of people found it absurd that Sylvanas could just go up and defeat the Lich King. And I just find it funny that some people to this day still think that was Arthas. I'm like, that's... It's like, how can you think that's Arthas? Unless people are just straight up... But then again, I know there are plenty of people that don't pay attention at all to the lore, that they don't, really know what's going on. But, yeah. Some people still thought that was Ner'zhul. Anyways, yeah. I am really hoping we continue to learn more info within the expansion to try and help lend more, I guess, credence or context to what we just saw in this cinematic. It does have, like I said, there is a bit of an aftermath to that in the book. If you pick up the Shadows Rising book, the epilogue actually has it take place right afterwards, where Nathanos shows up and he has a little conversation with Sylvanas. It mainly has to do with what Nathanos was doing in that book. And then she dismisses him to send him somewhere. Basically, it has to do with what's going to happen in the pre-patch. We're actually going to get an opportunity to see Nathanos in the pre-patch, not Sylvanas. I do not know when we're going to first encounter Sylvanas in this expansion, but I do know we will encounter Nathanos in the pre-patch. So I will try and show that on camera in a separate video once, of course, everything goes live again. So yeah, if you're curious about the theory that I was referring to, I'm gonna link a video in the description. It's courtesy of a fellow content creator for WoW content called Bellular, who has made a couple of fascinating videos about some info that was found in the beta that really lends to some interesting theories. One of the videos has to do with the idea of the Nathrazim having been agents for Denathrius as well as the jailer this entire time. Like, all the dreadlords were actually working for the jailer and were spies for on behalf of the jailer and Denathrius this entire time, even while they were working for the Legion and infiltrating other cosmic forces like the Void Lords or even the Light. There was a theory about Lothraxian actually still being a spy on behalf of the Dreadlords. And I thought that was interesting. And then there's a separate video in regards to the truth about the Lich King. So I'm going to link the Lich King video, and if you want, you can go to his channel and search for another video that has to do with, I believe it's called the Dreadlord Conspiracy or something like that. It's also a very interesting video. In fact, he recommends in the Lich King video to go watch that one because it actually lends some base. Because it's about the theory about the Dreadlords actually being the spies. So I'm going to be linking that. I highly recommend you check that out. I know it's, for some people, they were telling me it's old information, but I just love the quality of the editing and the presentation of it that Bellular puts into that video. So yeah, I'm going to be continuing to wait for the servers to go live. When they do, I have some things in mind that I want to do. This is actually going to give me the opportunity to make some other videos that I've been eagerly wanting to make, because I can have characters go straight to certain portions of the game, like Legion, for example, and be able to make some other videos in that regard. So, plus I also got to go to the barbershop. I got to take all my characters to the barbershop, see what I want, changes I want to make. So, this is basically going to be the first of hopefully much more Shadowlands content to come. I am planning my mentally planning for this has to do with, I'm going to be grabbing my Death Knight, and we're going to be going through the main questing of the expansion. And I have a couple of other characters in mind to use for a couple of the other zones, basically to do the Covenants, because from what I've heard, each of the Covenants will have their own separate campaign, similar to the Order Halls from Legion. So what I'm thinking is I might do playthroughs of each of the Covenants campaigns. This is me strictly thinking from a story and lore perspective, as opposed to the min-max perspective a lot of people are discussing the Covenants about. I'm just thinking in terms of, okay, this character joined this Covenant makes sense, this class, and then, I can't wait to see what the campaign is for all that, and, of course, the various transmogs and mounts and all that. So I hope to see you guys sticking around to see some of my other Shadowlands-related content, and I will see you guys next time.